Great rituals getting set to hit the ice here on home ice. The greatest team of all time. We've been taking the poll, unveiling the top 10 throughout the first 4 nights. Here you go. Started with Detroit 2002, the 84 Oilers, 78 Habs, 83 New York Islanders. Detroit was back in the picture. 2 more from the halcyon era in Edmonton. The 77 Habs, who lost only once at home to Don's Bruins, and the 92 Pittsburgh Penguins, with Mario Lemieux leading the way for back-to-back Stanley Cups. And now, the greatest team ever.
Another sellout crowd at the Northlands Coliseum. They hope to see their Oilers win their 2nd consecutive Stanley Cup. Messier's back on, and Messier steals it, breaks away. Mark Messier shoots, he scores! Here's Coffey for Edmonton. Coffey center. To Curry, to Gretzky, he scores! Here's Marsh. Stolen by Messier, who's in the clear. Scores! And the Oilers are making it look easy. The Edmonton Oilers, the Stanley Cup champions of 1985.
Pleased to be joined by Wayne Gretzky. Wayne, that year you topped the 200-point plateau for the 3rd time in 4 years. And Kelly, you're going to get the question, but to give you a sense, the Predators now have 50 points from their blue line. In the 85 year, Paul Coffey alone had 37 points. So he was great on that pass. Go ahead.
Okay, so Wayne, we're talking about the Predators' defense, and last game they had 5 points, and you think of now that puts them only the 3rd team in NHL history to have 4 defensemen with 10 or more points. The other 2 teams, you played on both of them. 84 Oilers, 93 Kings. What similarities are there between the teams you played on, those defensemen, and the Predators team?
Well, listen, I don't know if you can compare anybody to Paul Coffey. He played a unique style and one of the greatest defensemen ever play, and obviously he was a catalyst of that team. The LA team was so different in the sense that we had Jeetnik, Sador, Rob Blake, McSorley, and they joined the rush. They were strong defensively, but they joined the rush all the time. We tried to have odd man rushes as much as we can, and I think that's the similarity that 93 and the 84 team had compared to this team.
Wayne, no one could relate to what Sidney Crosby goes through on a day-to-day basis better than you.
Yeah.
He's got terrific points in his career in the playoffs, yet in the Stanley Cup final he only has 3 goals in 22 games. He's coming off a game where he didn't even get a shot on goal. How do you explain that?
Well, listen, first and foremost, Sidney Crosby is the best player in the game, and nobody can ever take that away from him at this point in time. I had an old coach, John Muckler, that used to say to me, it's not how many goals you get or how many points you get in the finals. It's the importance of when you get those points, whether it's a big point, big assist late in the game, a big goal late in the game to help your team win. And I always remember that. So if you look back to the Olympic Games when Crosby scored, to what he's done for the Pittsburgh Penguins, I look for Sidney Crosby to have a really good game tonight. The enthusiasm and the excitement of the Predators is really unmatched. But the experience and the skill level that the Pittsburgh Penguins have, I think it'll come to the forefront tonight.
Let's look at your 7 goals, Wayne, in that final in 1985. Yeah. And what if I asked you, is the 85 team the best of the 4 Cup teams?
Yeah, I'd say 87. We lost game 1 in Philadelphia. And I'll never forget, after the game, Glenn Sather gave myself and Paul Coffey a pretty good tongue lashing. And we came out, we were ready for game 2. We played well game 3, game 4, game 5. What I remember the most about this series was that the rule got changed, the coincidental minors. We got rid of 4-on-4 hockey. The Philadelphia Flyers felt like we were purposely taking penalties so we could create 4-on-4 situations, which was so not true. So there was a long period of time, the National Hockey League, you would get coincidental penalties, you still played 5-on-5. Took away from so much offense that we could have offered throughout the whole National Hockey League.
How did you work through your nervousness? You know, the atmosphere is amazing, and was it for you like important to get touches, shots on goal, chances?
Yeah.
What was it?
I think, honestly, it was the locker room before the game with the guys. Like, you're sitting there, and you know everybody's watching, and we all say the same thing. This is what we dreamed about when we were kids in the backyard or on a pond or on a lake. And I think sitting with the guys and just sitting there and telling stories and talking about, hey, isn't this great? That loosens you up. And then you get on the ice and you're smiling at each other and throw one off the crossbar or you snap one at the goalie. Listen, the game is fun, and there's no better place to be in a Game 4 situation like tonight. And these both teams, and I found the bigger the game was, the better I slept. You know, I always had the same ritual, but by 12:30, I'd fall asleep for an hour and a half, go to the arena like 2:30, 2:45. That was the most excited I ever was the bigger the game, the more fun I had.
Have you followed a little bit of the PK Crosby situation here with maybe the distraction off the ice? PK bringing in some Listerine before the game. Can you recall anybody in your career trying to get into your kitchen a little bit like that?
Oh, I'm not sure. The game was, life was a little bit different back then, right? We minded our own business. Used to say after a win, now don't say anything silly to the newspaper or to the media so they got something to run with. Just keep it quiet, and they're a great team and they're going to be better next game. That was kind of our attitude in those days, but life is different today. As you know, raising kids is different than when our parents raised kids.
I do remember Neil Sheehy. Kevin Lowe would be absolutely ballistic about Sheehy tormenting you or some of the great guys. I guess, Wayne, the last thing I'd ask you is the Chicago series before the final against Philadelphia, 44 goals. I mean, Yari had 12. Imagine 12 in a series. That, to me, maybe was what I thought 85 got the nod. What do you remember about that?
Well, honestly, what I do remember the most was we're 2-0 and breezing through the series, and before we knew it, it was 2-2, and we were coming home for a Game 5 and going, okay, what's going on? We had a great Game 5, obviously, and a wonderful Game 6, but, you know, they were led by guys like Denny Savard and Doug Wilson, and they wouldn't go away. They played hard. We knew they were a good team, but we just kept going at them and going at them, and we got 3 goals. We wanted 6. We got 6. We wanted 9. We weren't stopping.
Really appreciate you coming by, Wayne.
Thank you guys. Great job, you guys. Thank you.